In this video, I'm going to show you how you can get call recordings for your Go High Level account like this right here. You can see call recording summary, and then it has a quick summary of exactly what was said on this call. This is a test, all right, you could tell because it's literally summarizing the test, okay? But I'm going to show you this works for every single account, every single person on your Go High Level account. And basically all you have to do to install it is head over here. I'll drop this link in the description below. And just to demonstrate, I'm going to uninstall it from my own account. And once I refresh the page, if you click on this, you're signed in through app.gohighlevel.com to your agency account. Then you should see this, and just make sure you install it under an agency. I haven't tried it. I don't think it'll install under a sub account. So anyways, install it, and you're gonna select all and then enable future installations and hit continue and allow. And then give it some time. It's gonna say install complete, but you're gonna have to give it, I don't know, probably 5 minutes, a couple minutes, just to kind of like process things and make sure everything's in place, because there's a lot of moving parts, surprisingly enough. Basically, in the rest of this video, I'm gonna break down exactly how this works, just so you can see if you wanna maybe try doing it yourself. But overall, yeah, I mean, it's here, it works, it's free. I'm using Deepgram. Oh shit. Yeah, Deepgram for the transcription. And if you look at their pricing, it's pretty cheap. It's pay as you go, and they give you $200 of credit, and it's 43 whatever a minute. It works out to about a quarter per hour. So, you know, if you have an hour's worth of clients every single day, it's only going to cost me 25 cents. I'm not going to charge anything for this unless it goes over like $100, $200, $300 a month. Then I'll probably start reaching out and just seeing if you want to pay anything to keep having it. But anyways, the rest of this video, I'm just going to break down how I implemented this. So the first thing is you have to create a high-level app. You can't just do this through like a workflow, because basically the way you get the call recording is through the API. You literally have to have an app. It's kind of dumb. So anyways, you'll do create app, and I have already created an app, but you want to make sure you get the agency type. I believe if you don't select agency, there's some permissions you can't do. I mean, you'll figure it out. But basically you create an agency, and then you have to select your scopes. So this is kind of a pain in the ass. I'll get to the fun stuff in a minute, but this kind of what will take you 3 or 4 hours if you don't know how to do it. Basically, what you do is you want to look at the API and you figure out, all right, what do I want to do? So I want to get call recordings, all right? Let's just use a really easy example like this video. So call recordings, so that'll be outbound, that'll be messages, right? So we'll have, and I'm gonna find it. I know what it looks like. So this book symbol, this is a webhook. So we have inbound message, and then these are webhooks events, and then there's also outbound message, okay? So we have inbound and outbound message, so we need to remember that. And then let's also say, let's also say note create, okay? So we can add the summary, create note. So create note, okay, boom. I mean, this is basically all we need to see, create note, all right? Honestly, you just have to figure out what you need. But once you know what you need and what it's actually called, we'll go create note, and then note. Okay, so here we go. So contact ID notes. And then actually, if we go back to that notes page, you'll see this has the same structure. That's kind of the only way you know that's the right scope. It's kind of not that clear. So you just need to know, all right, I need this scope. Oh shit, go back. I need contacts.read-only, or actually contacts.write, to be able to put a note. So here we go. Yes, this is the exact call we'll be using. So we need contacts.write scope, and then we'll also look for message, and then we'll say conversation/message.read-only, inbound and outbound. And then you go over to your app and you select those scopes. And then you'll be authorized to actually get those like events when a message happens, and then also to create notes. and then you'll just go through your webhooks. So we do message, inbound and outbound messages. And then here is where it gets a bit more complicated. So what we need to do is we need to set up a redirect URL. So basically what's going to happen is after you install this app, you saw it took me to that page. Let's see if it'll, install complete. And when it redirects you to this page, it's going to give you this code in the menu bar. All right. So you can basically just steal this code and use this from now on, or you can set up a system to actually do it. So one way to do it is to use Zapier. I hate Zapier. I don't want to pay $1 billion a month just for a shitty UI. So instead, I set up my own server. But the easy way to do this is to basically grab this code at the end and then go over to the API docs, and we'll go to OAuth, and we need to get an access token. Basically, this is the installation code, and we need to exchange that for the actual authentication that's going to let us run stuff through the API. So if you just want to generate call summaries, I mean, once this app is installed and you have the correct scope selected and webhooks, your webhook down here, your webhook URL is going to start getting these events, inbound and outbound messages, whenever they're sent or received. But if you actually want to post stuff to the contact notes, then you're going to need to do what we were just doing, this step. So get the access token. So we're going to put in our code, and then our client secret and client ID, those are right here. Client ID, you press copy, and when you press add, it'll show you your client secret only once. It's like an API key. You can't have it shown again for security reasons. So basically, you have all this stuff and you're going to get your authorization. So the way it works for this one is, this is my server. This is a Node.js server set up on Replit. It's a deployment on there. So basically, we have this URL. And you can also do this with a Zapier webhook. So if you want a webhook to start with a URL, then basically all you need to do is pull the code out of the URL and post it over to wherever you want it. So I'm posting it over to Airtable, where I'm going to actually process it. So this is the Airtable automations that I have, and this is what happens when an install actually comes in. Okay, so when you click install on my app and then it takes you to that install complete page, then you're going to see, and we should see that in the logs right here. So it's showing all the app installs, but we should get a code somewhere. Yes, here we go. Received code. So this is that same code that was in the URL, and then that shows up over here. And then basically what we're doing is we're actually doing the API call just straight from an Airtable script, okay? And the reason this is important is because your authentication tokens are only good for 24 hours, okay? So every time you run this, they're going to give you, and hopefully this information isn't sensitive by the time this video comes out, but they're going to give you a big long access token like this. And then they're also going to give you a refresh token. And what you need to do every 24 hours is, I just have this on a 23-hour repeater, is literally all you do is you send them, I forget what the exact schema looks like, but yeah, so you send them your client ID, your client secret, remember those are from your app, and then you tell them, I'm looking for a refresh using a refresh token, and then you just send them your refresh token, and then they send you back a brand new refresh token, and, oh wait, no, it's down here. They send you back a brand new access token and a brand new refresh token, okay? So we're almost 10 minutes into this, and this is really the hard part, is just setting up all this stuff, because you got to make a list, you got to store these refresh and access tokens, and you got to have an automation that's going to find the right ones and refresh them for you. Once all that is set up, then the call recordings are pretty straightforward. So I'm going to blur a lot of this out, hopefully, but basically what we have here is we have different agencies, and then for each agency, there is going to be a bunch of clients, and these clients are imported when you install the app. And then for each client, there's a bunch of contacts, right? And so these contacts, I actually just started collecting them a few hours ago, and it's a Sunday, at 7 p.m. No one is using their phone, so it's a very small list. But this is going to build up with all your contacts from your clients. Just so you see like kind of what my data structure looks like, you could set this up in your own Airtable. But if we go back to the message event, so basically what we're doing is we have a webhook set up on my server. So this, like I was saying earlier, this could also be a Zapier webhook, but essentially what it's doing is it's waiting for these events, because in my app settings, the webhook URL is right here, okay? And you can see it's the same thing. So I have it on this domain and then with that endpoint, all right? Where is it? Yeah, so right here. So it's deployed there. And then if you scroll down, you'll be able to see the case statements. So if the type of webhook is an inbound or an outbound message, then we want to send it to this Airtable webhook. And I'm going to show you how this works hopefully pretty quickly. I mean, it's pretty simple, honestly. We're just like refreshing the contact or updating the contact, if there's no contact there already. We're creating a record for that message, kind of formatting some of the data. And then to summarize the calls, basically we just make sure that we actually have that feature enabled so we can turn that on or off for anyone we need. And then I have my Deepgram API key that I'm going to bring in, and I'm going to run this script to get the summary. It's extremely easy with Deepgram. Literally, you just bring in your API key and the URL of the recording. You send it to this address with this parameter, summarize equals v2, and boom. I mean, that's literally all you need. And then it'll respond with your summary. And then we use this script to send that off to high level. So this is the URL and for that for updating notes, and then it's dynamic because this part of the URL requires to have the contact ID, and so we're just bringing in the contact ID as well as our access token for the company or for the location. And I mean, yeah, and I'm also doing like another features check because I want to like make sure for sure that people actually want to get summaries. Some people might find it creepy, and yeah, I mean, that's basically all we do. So we send over call recording, new line, and then there's the summary, and that'll show up in high level. And then, yeah, and then the message will also get a summary on it. But that is basically all there is to it. I also want to show you this. So this is my plan for this app that I'm building, Sales Sentinel / automated agency. Haven't quite decided yet, but essentially, first thing is really this call summaries part, but eventually I want to have like automated tasks, or even not just a task, but like an automatic text go out to the owner to say like when to follow up, just so you don't have to like think about adding tasks. The robot automatically tells you when you should do something, and then eventually it'll be able to automatically follow up over text with your customers. Another thing that's really big I found is reporting. So if your clients aren't calling their leads, they're not going to get results, and it's hard to know how good of a job they're doing with it. So this is the ultimate goal. This is why I started this entire like project, is to be able to get like not a map, but see how good of a job each client does with calling their leads. So we can generate summaries, we can track the call duration to figure out like how good of a job they're actually doing talking to the leads. Are their calls like long enough? And then we can also use like those indicators, like how long they're spending on the phone, how many phone calls they're having, to predict churn, right? Because if your clients aren't talking to their leads, they're going to churn. So we can basically notify you when someone's at a high risk of churning. And then finally, advertisements. So managing ads is kind of a pain in the ass, but it's like extremely easy. It's one of those things that's very straightforward. If an ad starts doing badly, duplicate it, put in a new creative, one that you already have that you know works, and publish. And it takes 5 minutes, but you have to remember to do it every day. And if you forget for a few days, all of a sudden your lead costs go up and your client complains. So we're gonna automate that as well and make that a part of the platform. Yeah. Anyways, let me know if any of these features particularly interest you, because I'm working on it right now. I can implement any of them ahead of the others. Just trying to gauge which ones are the best to work on right now. So I hope you enjoyed. Hope this video was helpful, and